turn it into like an arcade,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a full
Just
arcade,
fun.
just like colourful.
Blocks are worth 2 points. Even if promote defense.
This guy's cooking. This guy is cooking. The NBA needs to see this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pick and Roll podcast, episode number 5.
5.
We've made it this far.
We have, one thing I've noticed, we haven't actually introduced ourselves. Maybe we
Not
might
properly.
have. We might have in the first episode. I don't remember, but since then we should really every episode we should say, because there are probably new viewers.
I hope. I'm
This
Campbell.
This is Campbell. I'm Max, the co-host for the Pick and Roll podcast.
Yeah.
We won't see anyone else until we get
Enough.
until we get Isaiah Thomas on the podcast, because he's coming to Australia soon. We hope. So
So until then.
until then,
Yeah, this episode might be 1 or 2 days late because I've been away. In the sun once again, but back to consistency. You might have seen that we're posting more shorts, TikToks, reels, etc. So
getting a bit
we're
of
on that
love.
grind.
Getting a bit of love. So thank you very much. For
Yeah, it's good to see you
the
guys
likes.
commenting, getting interactive, especially with the sabotage, your opinions on different things.
Which
so
we
yeah.
created, by the way. So if it blows up, if you see any other sabotages on your TikTok feed, let us know, because we made it moment.
We'll sue them.
We will sue them for all they've got.
No, but anyway, this week wasn't too heavy on the games because it's only been a couple of days since the All-Star break. So pretty much we're just gonna wrap up what was the All-Star weekend, give our opinions on all the events, and then present some suggestions and some ideas on how it could be improved. And then we're gonna do some rises and falls for the rest of the season, and then some games as per. So should be a fun episode. Make sure you guys stay tuned and get right into it.
So as a whole, what did you think of the All-Star weekend? Was it successful? Did it go towards growing the NBA as a brand, or what do you think as a whole?
To put a long answer into a short form, no. I enjoyed it to the point where I'm an NBA fan, so I enjoyed nearly every type of event of basketball that goes on during the weekend. But did I think it helped to bring in new fans? No, and I think a lot of fans weren't happy with it. It definitely wasn't up to the par that former All-Star weekends have been. And I know that's just us becoming old, but the nostalgia around the All-Star game, the mystique, the hype is dying down. And we've seen so many creators, you've seen JJ Redick and others commenting on why the All-Star game was awful this year and, presenting their opinions on how to improve it, or if there is any way to improve it really. But what do you think of it?
I'm in the same boat as you. But I certainly think there were some positives that came out of it. Steph and Sabrina,
That was a great event. Yeah.
that was a great event. They were both on fire, which, I feel like everyone would have expected. Sabrina shot the best out of the men's 3-point contest that had gone on beforehand, so she really showed up. And then Steph Curry is just the best shooter in the world, ever.
Best shoot ever, yeah.
Ever. So that was amazing. I think it brought the star power. It was competitive. It wasn't looking super likely that Steph was going to beat her after the first couple racks. He missed a few, and she got off to a really good start. So, but he hit the last 14 out of 15 or something crazy. So that was really a positive out of the weekend, and I really hope we see that next year as well. And then the 3-point contest I thought was also good.
It was enjoyable. It wasn't outrageously entertaining, but it was good. I feel like most fans would be like, that was a good event. That was, because that doesn't need to be changed too drastically. It was at a passable level.
No, I'm hopefully we're looking forward to seeing that next year. There were 4 players tied at the score of 20. 5 players tied at the score of 27 going into after the first round, and so they had a tie break. And then the final round came down to the last shot. Damian Lillard missed 4 out of 5 on the last rack.
He's
and then
clutch. Dame
he's
time.
clutch. Dame time. And he hit the last one and won it.
Yeah, you could say that was the luck of the event that made it interesting, but I feel like it's hard to mess up a 3-point competition. That's just going to be a staple of the All-Star weekend. Yeah, it just has to be there. It's hard to mess it up, and it's always entertaining to see who the best shooter out of those lot is out of a bunch of good shooters. But what about the dunk contest?
The dunk contest.
The not so good, perhaps.
No. You see, I've got a bit to say about it.
Yeah, before we go into that, I've got a stat here that I was looking up the other day, and this year's All-Star game in the US was the least watched, except last year, since 2003.
Since 2003.
Yeah, 5.5 million viewers. The All-Star game, the actual game,
Yeah.
compared to 4.6 last year. But in 2011, 9.1, 2003, 10.8, and on average it's about 7.5 until 2019, where it starts to take a dip to 6.8, and then the 2021, 22, 6.1 and 6.3. And then really the past couple of years, it's taken another drastic drop. So that's just an insight there to how the fans are feeling about the All-Star game.
Yeah, it's
and
interesting.
how it's not reaching new audiences.
Because since then, 2003, it would have at least, I reckon the NBA would have at least doubled in size.
Yeah, the
So to
fan
see
base,
it-
international viewers as well.
Exactly.
Like
European, we've seen more European stars popularized, even though we did have Hakeem, we had Manu, we had Tony, but of course it's the social media age, so it's more accessible. And so there are way more fans, and that's sort of surprising. Less viewership.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like those, 4.65 million people that are watching the All-Star game are going to watch either way, whether it's good or bad. So it's a real indication that the NBA is not holding fans to a high degree. They're not introducing anything that's keeping casual fans' attention.
Yeah.
Or people that are new to the sport that are really going to get involved and help the NBA to grow more.
Yeah. I was thinking, maybe do you want to go from what happened first to what happened last? So
Yeah, chronological order.
we could just start at the celebrity game, just like touch on it
We can.
quickly. Even though it's
Touch
not
on it.
huge, it's not a huge event, but
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the whole game. I'm not going to pretend like I did. It's not the most interesting or entertaining for me. But there were definitely some highlights from it. Casanat only scoring 4 points. He said he played 5 minutes, but I think Shannon Sharp actually pulled up that he played about 14 minutes. But he was open, and Micah Parsons didn't pass because he was going for that MVP.
yeah,
37 points, 15 boards.
he was wide open under the rim as well. So
Yeah, but monstrous game. The NFL
Serious.
players, and I forgot his name, but I know he's a gold medalist high jumper. I remember watching him in the 2021 Olympics. But he dunked the ball as well. There's some very athletic players. You can definitely tell who the athletes are compared to the non-athletes on the floor. But there were some highlights. Kai walking in with Steph Curry pre-game. That was pretty funny.
When are we going to see Flight? When are we going to see Flight do that?
I actually put in a word to Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco on their podcast, and he said, I've got a friend that wants to play next year. His name's Flight. So,
Do you reckon they'll be able to do anything though? They're not. I mean, they're media. That they could.
Shannon was the coach.
True.
So
He could put in a
if he's
word
coaching
to the
again,
NBA,
or
I
if he's
suppose.
coaching again.
Yeah, that would be super
Maybe.
entertaining. I think. Where is it next year? It's in Golden State. It's
San
in the
Francisco.
Bay. So what I think the issue was this year in terms of the celebrity game is how many people are you going to drag? How many celebrities are you going to drag out to Indiana?
Wow.
Nah, it's true though.
He's making enemy.
Nah, like Indiana's cool. I don't know a thing about it, but it is a small market NBA team. The weather this time of year isn't good. It was snowing
Not
at the
here,
start of the
but
weekend. Not here, at Indiana at the start of the weekend. And I think that actually influences a lot more about the All-Star weekend than people think.
Yeah, when you've seen years when it's been in LA, the stars come out a lot. Well, obviously, a lot of them live in LA, so it's a lot easier access to the games, and you see more star power, firepower in the celebrity game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that they put some actual ballers into the celebrity game this year because that made it interesting. If it was just celebrities that, I mean, B-list, C-list celebrities that were just coming out and couldn't hoop, I don't think anyone would be watching it. But I mean, you had CJ Stroud, T-Jazz. You know T-Jazz?
I do know T-Jazz.
He bowled.
He's a very good player.
He had like, I think 25, and he had 5 assists at halftime. And there was that clip of him going up to Kelsey Plum, and she said, "Pass the ball, bro." He had 5 assists, which is more than what she averages every single season.
That was pretty funny. They created another social media moment.
Yeah.
So there were plenty of those from the celebrity game. So if that's what they want to get over, I don't have the stats of how many people watched that game, but I feel like it was an overall success.
A few highlights come out of it. Yeah, it's not on the actual weekend. It's on off Friday. So I think it's like more of a minor event, and I think that they can keep it in. I don't think they should change it in any way. It's cool. And next year at the Bay, hopefully they bring out some bigger names as well. I think they definitely will. Even celebrities coming from LA, like it's not a far drive. Good weather. I'm sure it will happen. The same day there was the Rising Stars Challenge.
I didn't get to catch that one. I was at work, I think.
Right. Yeah. No, you were away. It was the day you went away. No. Was it? No. Maybe you were at work.
I didn't see it either way.
Yeah. They had it in the form that they've had it the previous 2 years. Sorry, no. So I was getting confused with the skills competition. I also didn't watch it. But there was the game. There was international versus the US, which they've done most years, except it was more of like a mini game. And the G League cooked.
Yeah,
the NBA, because it was.
They did interesting.
It was like European versus NBA versus G League, and yeah, the G League cooked the international team, and I'm not sure about the USA team, but.
Well, I feel like the G League players have more to prove. You know, it's more of an event for them.
This is
rather
true.
than the international or USA players.
But then
they're not really trying. And like I said last week, I don't know if players view it as embarrassing to try, but a lot of them just don't try. We're going to talk more about that, especially in the skills challenge.
Yeah.
But I feel like players think they're having fun. It's good to see players having fun, but to a certain degree, that's not going to keep around people who don't care about their personalities.
Yeah.
More so, like casual fans that are just want to see a good competition, a close competition. They're not there to see people messing around.
Yeah. But then again, I think it's a pride thing as well. When we're talking about the G League versus international, when you're about to lose to a G League team, surely something flips in your brain. I don't know. I'm obviously not an NBA player. I haven't gone through 50 odd games that they've already gone through in the regular season. But if I'm down to a team that is not meant to beat me, only by a few points as well, I would like Wemby. No. Let's not call out Wemby specifically. But I just feel like for me, I would have tried harder. I wouldn't have let them win because pride.
Yeah. If I was in the same spot, I'm not an NBA player either. But
sure about that.
I understand why they didn't try to that degree. And also the G League players want to get their respect, I feel like, more so than the other players.
Yeah.
I also saw that in the Rising Stars Challenge, Benedict Mathurin hit 18 points in the first game.
He balled. Yeah. No, sorry. It was just NBA versus G League. It was just young NBA players versus G League. Sorry. I'm pretty sure. I'm so confused, man. Because I remember Benedict was on the same team as Wemby. So it's got to be something to do with that. No. They had a draft.
Did they?
They had a draft where they drafted these players. But I'm pretty sure the G League team was just the G League team.
G League team is just a G League.
But the rest of them were drafted. So there was probably a cut there. We were just figuring this shit out. Yeah, there was a draft, and then the G League had their own team.
Yeah. But they got into the final, but they didn't win the whole thing. So I guess there's some level of trying going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Benedict Mathurin was probably the MVP from that event.
Mm-hmm.
Not much more to say from me. There weren't too many hearts that I saw. Any that caught your eye?
I saw Mateus I'll learn his name, I promise. He's getting drafted next year. He's in the G League. He hit a fadeaway over Wemby for the win when they played Wemby's team. So that was pretty cool. But do you think it's an important event, or do you think it's cuttable? Do you think they should cut it?
It's cuttable, and I like how they're trying to switch it up, but I don't know if it's working. I feel it's hard to get people to care about an event that's 2 days removed from the actual All-Star game, and it features basically, I know it's mini games, but like a similar All-Star game format, kind of, but just in shortened form, but just with worse players. Yeah. And also the G League players, you didn't know his name before. I don't either. But we're saying the G League team, who's rooting for them that doesn't actively follow G League basketball.
Yeah, but then again, I think there's a case where those players are now put on your radar.
Yeah,
there's that, but I don't know how important it is. And then again, Wemby is an attraction as well. Like honestly, if I wasn't busy that day, I probably would have watched it. But it wasn't like an unmissable thing. Like for me, the All-Star game is, the dunk contest is for me at the moment. Maybe not anymore though, but we'll get into that. So
I feel like they should keep it around. Yes.
Yeah.
But
just in case something happens.
It's hard to get past those years where it was like Luka and Trey, USA International.
That was cool.
That was pretty good years for that event. So if they could, again, it's hard to differentiate between individual performance and highlights that happen in a game to actually fixing a better format for the game.
Yeah.
Because there's differences. Because you can have an amazing format, but there's no hearts in the game, and then suddenly people are not entertained.
Yeah.
So it's hard to differentiate. It's going to be the same for every event. But I still feel like they should keep it around. For now at least.
May as well. I mean, I don't know how much it costs for the NBA, but I'm sure they make a profit anyway in the All-Star weekend. Just because people's anticipation for the All-Star weekend, even though it might be too high, their anticipation might be too high for how much of a letdown it usually is. I think they still sell the tickets. So as long as they can afford it, I think may as well just keep it in.
So next in chronological order, that's the skills challenge. Is next. I've got a bit to say.
I'm gonna let you.
Let me talk to the camera. No, I just want to say that you can't expect people to tune in if they're not. If players aren't trying. I love Ant and I love Scotty Barnes, but it almost as if they don't want to try because, you know, if they lose, it's embarrassing because they're the best team. They are the best team, skill wise and player wise. They should have won the competition realistically.
Agreed.
But Ant shooting left-handed threes and Scotty
airballing two of them against the backboard,
and Scotty just dribbling out of bounds off his left foot for no reason.
But I don't know. Like, I think that's actually that might be a skill. That may be actually a skill thing.
Shooting left-handed is not a skill thing.
I think you saw a couple players. I think Paolo, someone from the previous team, they completely missed the turn that they needed. They didn't follow the line. Yeah, they didn't follow the lines. I think maybe that was confusing players. I don't know. It looked very obvious on TV as to where you should go, but maybe Scotty was thinking about, am I doing the right thing? And he wasn't thinking about.
I feel like Scotty was just, and you saw he threw the ball over his head.
Yeah, that's inexcusable. But they were doing terribly at that point. It had already been like 40 seconds.
See, that's the point where do you go, oh, it's just for fun, but also you got to try to some point.
Some degree, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't tune in for it live. I watched the replay of the whole event though.
Yeah.
And I was a bit confused how also the passing worked. Like, were there 2 rounds of passing through the...
So the first, it was 1 round, but they tied. 2 teams tied, so they redid another round.
Yeah.
But I don't mind that. I mean, I'm not such a big fan of the passing event. I find it a little bit boring. Because it's just people running around the court bouncing, and you don't really know what's going on as a fan. Like I couldn't really keep up with it because you're looking at one player, someone else in the commentary team is looking at another player, they're talking about another player, and you're like, what is going on?
It was just a bit messy for me, even on the replay, which should be the refined and cut version.
Yeah.
Is hard for me to follow. I didn't know the rules.
Yeah.
What was going on, and yeah, when the best team in the competition, when we was getting frustrated, visibly frustrated that they weren't
the first
trying
several
that
picks.
hard.
But
Indiana won, so
Indiana won, and
the crowd would have enjoyed that.
I think they tried as a team. They obviously tried, actually. They were 100% from three. I think maybe Benedict might have missed one, but they were really hustling up the court. And Tyrese Halliburton had like 15 seconds left by the end of the round, threw it off the backboard to himself.
See, that's
and dunked
showtime, but it shouldn't be 15 seconds difference.
No, it shouldn't be. That was my point. So how do they actually? We won't talk about how to fix it at the moment. I think we'll go through every contest and then like review what we think should change about every single one.
Okay.
So maybe is that all you could say about the skills contest?
Yeah, pretty much. Is that
what else? It was so they had the around the cones, they had the passing one, and there was another one. It was a shooting one.
Yeah.
So they had the spots where it's like five for a deep three for a corner, 4 for a top of the arc or something. But maybe they were swapped.
I think it was it last year where Scotty Barnes and Tyrese missed 6 floaters?
That's so funny.
That's like the other day.
That was a couple of years ago, but I was sort of hoping they'd recreate something like that. But no, I think they might have won that one. Well, the Pacers won that one, but Scotty was on fire. I mean, do you like that section of the event? Do you think that should continue? I mean, it is a part of the skills challenge, and that's a way of showing your skill.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with that. It's more interesting than the passing one. And players are more capable of just shooting the basketball. It's something they do every day.
Yep.
It's something that comes naturally to them. So it really does test out their skills. It's hard to mess up something you do so often.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to prove that they're good shooters, even just on a skills challenge. Whereas in comparison to just dribbling the ball, like, around your side, between your legs, mess around. But, I feel like shooting something that most players take pride in.
Yep. So next we got the 3-point contest.
Mm-hmm.
We've already sort of talked about that. Do you really have
briefly?
Yep. What do you have to say about it that we haven't already said?
Well, we covered before that we both enjoyed the event. The best shoes in the game is what they got, except, bar Steph, because he was doing the other event.
Yeah.
Pretty much they got not the definitive best 8 shooters, but definitely 8 of the best 20 or so shooters in the league. So that's really all they can do, I feel like.
And I feel like
it was competitive.
They can consistently bring in the best shooters in the league because it's something that the players are confident in. It's not strenuous.
Like I was saying before, it's something
they're confident
players
in.
Practice every day.
Exactly.
It's not strenuous on the body. It's just something that's natural, and you want to be known as a good shooter, especially if you're if you're known as a good shooter and you're going into this event, you do not want to come last.
No. But I really enjoyed that event. Were there any surprises for you, as in someone who didn't play well, shoot well, or someone who did shoot well that you weren't expecting?
I was surprised Malik Beasley came last because he technically has the highest 3-point percentage out of those in the competition. But we thought that might happen. I didn't think it was that going to happen for that reason, but it's because his jumper is so slow.
Yeah, because he jumps.
Watching it,
he properly jumps when he shoots.
He has a jumper, as in he jumps, follow through, holds the follow through,
waits for it to go in, and then
which is hard when that's your natural shooting motion. You can't change that immediately.
Yeah.
So it just didn't work. He ran out of time, had to rush a lot of shots. So he came last.
We spoke last week about Tyrese Halliburton. I think this is the point that I made as to why he wouldn't win the competition. I thought that his jump shot would be too slow, but he was one of the fastest jump shots out there because he barely jumps. And I thought the awkward shooting motion just was a slow motion, but I don't know. Maybe
all right for him.
Yeah, I haven't seen him shoot with pace like that So obviously I didn't know, but he shoots with a lot of pace. So that was very surprising for me.
It was surprising that I think we all know Kat's a great shooter, but I feel like it was surprising that he made the final, especially because he put his foot on the line
He won it
a bunch of times.
He won it a few years ago though.
Yeah, I know. I'm joking. I'm prodding at the fact. Did you see he put his
He
foot
did.
on the line?
Like that
Yeah.
whole first rack, pretty much every single shot he took was on the line. Do you think he should have been disqualified, or do you think it's
It's hard to police an all-star event, but make him redo that rack.
make him
I
redo
feel
the rack?
like that's my suggestion, because especially if he won, it doesn't matter now looking back on it. But say he won the event, people would have looked back and been like, "This is just what is it? What is it even for?"
I agree with you. I was actually thinking that straight after the All Star, when after it happened, I was like, what if he wins? Are they going to take it away from him, or will just people be outraged? I don't think they'll take it away from him, but
No, it's more for fun. But as a hardcore fan, I don't want to see your foot on the line. It wasn't even just on the line; it was half on the line.
yeah.
Yeah, but he made the final along with Trey and Dame, which are our two picks to win.
Yeah.
And your boy picked it right.
Good
Dame,
job.
even though he had the lowest shooting percentage, pretty much what I said would happen happened. He got the deep balls, pause, and
Bro, I wasn't even going there, and then you said pause. I'm like, oh,
I'm sorry. No, Dame shot well from the deep spots, and he was just clutch. He hit it when it mattered most, and that's what I said would happen.
Yeah.
Not to pat myself on the back, but
pay yourself,
I
bro.
pretty much-
Give yourself
I
the
called
props. You got that.
and you said Trey, who pretty much
Came second.
Yeah, came second.
And I think I did rewatch the episode after the All-Star weekend happened, and I think I said that he would get his shots off very quickly, which he did,
Which did happen.
and he hit a couple deep balls as well. So
It's almost like we watch a lot of basketball, therefore we should be able to predict who
Yeah.
should win the 3-point contest. But
statistics
then
as
again,
well. Scrap that, because Dame is the worst 3-point percentage out of all of
Yeah,
them. So
it's just
no, we know
vibes.
that they can hit deep balls. And
yeah.
get that out of my mind, bro. Why did you do that to me?
We know they can hit deep shots. We know they've got fast release times, and they're proven to be some of the
That's
best
a
shooters in the
formula
league
to a good 3-point
over
contest.
a number of years. So we know.
And they've both been big performers in big moments as well over their career. So them two out of pretty much anyone on that list. So
Yeah.
they can shine in the big light.
So yeah, Dame took the trophy home.
Mm-hmm.
To kick things off for his night or
Yep.
his weekend.
His weekend.
It's a big one.
Dunk contest.
The dreaded dunk contest. It was definitely not my favorite that we've seen in the past couple of years. If Mac McClung wasn't there, I don't know what I would have made of it. It was not entertaining for me, really, in the slice, and also a number of factors. The judges, I felt they didn't have a consistent criteria. They were kind of just jumping all over the place.
They were terrible, man.
Well,
They
I don't
sucked.
know what they were basing in there.
They sucked.
It seemed that they took away points for reattempts, even though the overall dunk was better than another dunk where someone did it on the first try.
I agree with that to an extent. Ideally, you judge the person off their final dunk, but if it takes a long time to do it and multiple attempts, even though it may be a harder dunk,
But I don't think there was one that took more than 3. There was not one that took or more than 2. Feel like there was.
I think
only
Jaylen
7
Brown had
attempts.
maybe 1 or 2 wrong ones, but I'm talking like Jaylen Brown missed his dunk on all 3, like his first dunk on every single, except for the first one on the other 2 dunks. So I don't know, but they are separate dunks. So
Yeah, I disagree in the fact that the players like Kenny, the Jet Smith was saying on the commentary, if you're given a minute 30 and there should be at least some value of the time that, I agree that there should be points taken off if you're taking 4, 5, or if you have to change the dunk that you're doing.
yeah, fair enough. I agree.
But overall, I feel like they took that into account way too harshly.
Yeah.
Especially like Mac McClung, I think, took 2 takes on was it his first dunk? Was it his first or second dunk? And
Right.
that really nearly made him not make the final, which would have been terrible. Jacob Toppin, He has bounce.
Bro,
I feel like his dunk was underrated as well.
I think he did well. Both of his dunks. I
Got him
forgot.
for seconds. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
What was his first dunk? Do you remember? Because he had the 360 under the legs, which I think was a 50 in my
He dunked
opinion.
over Obi.
And he dunked over Obi. I don't think that was as good, even though that was probably the second best dunk, not from Mac McClung of the night. But Jaylen Brown, I don't think he should have made the final at all. I mean, the creativity was there, but
The
I'm
D
sort
Brown
of
one was not good.
which one,
The D Brown
bro? That
where
was
he dunked over
that was
over Kai.
cringe.
and-
That was straight cringe because first of all, he's jumping over a 5'3" man on a chair, sitting down on a chair, and then he didn't even put his hand over his face until he landed on the ground.
I didn't even know what he was doing. I've seen the D Brown dunk, but I
Yeah.
didn't even know what he was doing until the court changed into like the old school. I had
Yeah.
no clue.
Yeah,
Because you're supposed to do it as you're dunking it. It just
It did it when he
didn't make
landed.
sense to me. I don't think he should have made the final. Triple J, he's more bouncy than I thought, but we all knew that we don't picture him as a great dunker.
Mm.
I feel like people repetitively, Mac did in the final as well, but people were repetitively bringing out Shaq to dunk over him. That's happened so many times now.
Over the
It's
past few
getting to the
years.
point of a bigger issue is that there's been too many dunks.
Mm.
What dunks do we have left to do that people aren't going to be sick of or be like, oh, we've seen that before? That are possible by an NBA player.
By an NBA player. Yeah, it's interesting. You see, my whole perspective of the dunk contest has changed. No, I don't think it's changed, but I've been reminded of how the dunk contest actually goes. Because last week when we were making our picks on who we thought were going to win the dunk contest and how it was going to play out, I completely forgot about the previous year and how I felt immediately after that one. But now I'm reminded. I don't think it's got really much to do with star power at all. And we saw that with, their special dunkers, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, both weren't all-stars Aaron Gordon still isn't an all-star, but Zach LaVine wasn't an all-star when he got selected. I think it really just matters. You need to be a good dunker. I don't want to see Jaylen Brown in the dunk contest again, personally. And I think there's only one person.
Jalen, don't take offense to that.
Jaylen, we know you're watching, but I'm sorry, man. And then there's only one person or two people, like I said last week, on the All-Star roster that I would maybe like to see in the dunk contest. He wasn't an All-Star this year.
Yeah, but generally speaking,
I'm talking about Anthony Edwards and Donovan Mitchell, who's already won one. So
I don't think he'd do it again.
I don't think he'd do it again unless they changed it in certain ways, which we'll cover.
Yeah, but we both picked Mac McClung to win.
Yeah.
And we were right. Again.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was messaging him on the day saying 2 out of 2 predictions for me.
Boasting.
But
And then
yeah,
we also
he's
forgot.
the best dunker. You can see he brings out his specialist team. You know, the people that he brings out to hold the ball. Like he's practiced that many times.
Yeah.
So it's down to a science. Yeah, his dunk where he threw it to himself mid-air, I thought that was sick, but the judges didn't seem to enjoy that at all. And it didn't top what he did last year, unfortunately.
No, but the one where he threw it to himself that wasn't a
tough.
50. That wasn't a 50.
I don't
That's
think
crazy.
it was even that close to being a 50. I think it was like a 47.
That's because he missed like you were saying, he missed the first
But
two attempts
still.
or something. And that's what we're complaining about as well. So I think that should have been in 50. But I think that was his only 50.
I think it was the only 50 in the whole thing, probably.
The last one was given a 50, but I don't think it should have been. What was it again?
Shaq.
Shaq, yeah. Just doing the same old thing that we see every single year. So, yeah, once we get to the section where we're going to talk about how we can improve it, I think we'll cover it a bit more. But do you have anything else to add on it, or?
Not particularly. I didn't enjoy it. I know a lot of fans didn't enjoy it. And yeah, kind of leading into the section where we talk about improvements, I feel like it's going to be difficult. That's all I'm going to say. No spoilers before we get to that segment.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, no, I'm gonna leave it. I'm going to get myself carried away after that segment.
First, one more thing I want to add. Jacob Toppin, I don't know if we just said this, but Jacob Toppin should have got into the final round because I really would have liked to see his final 2 dunks because we got a little taste of what he was
He's bouncy.
able to. I think he would have. I think he was saving because that's what most players do. They save their best 2 dunks for
That's
last.
true.
If he's pulling that out in the second round, which is the best dunk we'd seen apart from Mac McClung's catch it dunk, I think he could have pulled off something special and we just didn't see it, which there was outrage in the crowd and Topham was like,
rightfully so.
what is going on when they gave him like a 47 for that dunk? Because that was crazy. That was like probably one of the best dunks I've seen in like the past couple of years. Underrated. But the crowd weren't going very crazy. Like the whole dunk contest even. I think Mac got one that got like the celebrities involved and they were all standing up going crazy, but none of the other dunks were really doing anything for the crowd, which
Not particularly, which it sucks to see. Even as someone watching from a TV or watching from your laptop screen, you can feel the crowd's energy through that. And it reflects off other people. If other people are excited to watch it, you subconsciously are excited to watch it, even if you particularly didn't enjoy it.
I think it's definitely because of the standard that people set on the dunk contest. They want to see
since 2016 and
2020.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
2020.
But yeah, it's just disappointing.
It's a difficult one. But we briefly mentioned before Steph versus Sabrina.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about that again? I feel like we covered in essence what
I don't
happened.
think. Well, we don't really. I don't have any critiques about it. So, are you happy like skipping? Or no, we can talk about how they're going to do it next year in the critique moment.
Yeah.
And when we talk about
But
critiques,
in general, as a whole, I really
was very
enjoyed
successful.
that one. That was
Yeah.
my favorite event of the weekend.
do it again. All-Star game. Did you
Yes.
you get around to watching it, or did you?
I watched the last quarter
Okay.
because I was working.
Which is
I
the
swear
quarter.
I'm not a casual. I was working.
Yeah. Hustling. We're hustlers behind
Someone's got to do
behind
it.
what you see.
But yeah, I got the general gist, and I watched a lot of highlights. I watched the box score. I watched the replay, the full replay. I skipped through the ads and everything, so I know what happened during the game.
Yeah, but it was just. I mean, a high score. You would think there's going to be a lot of highlights in a high score. Like they would just obviously there's very little defense in most years that is being played. But when you see that box score, you're just expecting. When you click on the highlights, I'm sure you're expecting just like
Yeah,
dunks and like just complete like straight highlights. When I thought really I could name 4 or 5 players that made me like partly excited.
I could name 2 or 3 highlights just from the whole game.
Yeah.
In general, I'll name them right now. LeBron tomahawk, Dame pulling from deep. I'd say probably 4. Tyrese catching fire early. You count that as a highlight, and then Luka and Jokic passing the ball back to each other, up and down the court. But apart from that, was there really a major highlight?
No, and I think the issue at the moment with the All-Star game, first of all, I don't know if this is covering what we're going to cover in our next segment, but I'm just going to say it anyway. There were just too many 3-pointers for my liking. Like the All-Star game, I don't think should be at all about 3-pointers. We saw Luka pull it from the opposite free throw line. We saw people just taking wide open threes. I don't want to see a wide open 3 in an All-Star game. And the way that you fix that is just applying even a little bit of defense. Even a little bit. Like if you're going 70% on defense, that's better than going 30%, which the players were going. I mean, there were a couple blocks, but those were one-off occasions where players thought, oh, this player's not going to be expecting me to block this shot. I'm going to go up and I'm going to block it.
Yeah, Stephen Paolo.
Stephen Paolo, that was pretty cool. I kind of like that one. But it just wasn't fun. The crowd weren't getting too involved.
They were just running up the score. Yes, it was the highest score ever by the East All-Stars. And yes, we both thought the West would win because they have a better team. But that didn't, there's not the rivalry of old. It's not that big of a deal who wins. And yeah, not many highlights, not very competitive. There wasn't a lot to show for it. And you watched the whole game. Did you feel like it it was a bit of a waste of time, or did you enjoy it?
I think it was a waste of time. Like, I would have preferred to do what you did after watching it. I just wouldn't have watched it, and I would have watched maybe the fourth quarter. But even then, I probably just would have watched the highlights, which was only a handful of clips. Well, the highlights, like when you gone through the highlights, was it even impressive whatsoever?
Not particularly, especially compared to. I'm gonna say, because since I've been an NBA fan, 2016, 17, 18, probably the best when they had the white and black jerseys. There were some good highlights there. And 2017, Giannis, where Steph lied down on the floor.
Yeah, that was cool.
Again, I'm basing this off of nostalgia, but I feel like there were definitely more highlights in those years. More dunks.
I'm just missing the dunks, honestly.
It's all about the threes.
I hate. This is not Steph's fault at all, but like, I just hate how obviously the game has evolved, and during an actual competitive NBA game, I understand 3-pointers. I love the way it's played at the moment. It's exciting. Obviously there's defense played. It's the NBA. And that makes the
no
3-point
defense, it turns into a drill.
Yeah.
It's a drill. We talk about this is a bit of a side tangent, but in football, when you play a bad team, it's like you're running a drill. That's pretty much what it is. You're pulling up, shoot, pull up, shoot. You can get into a rhythm, yeah, sure, but there's no defense, there's no challenge, and after a few makes or a few misses, you're like, why is this the same thing? It feels like I was watching the highlights, and it felt like I was watching the same highlights being played over and over again, but it was a different quarter.
Yeah. And we've seen, like, the players on the West, I don't know what their average age was, but they were so old. Everyone on that team was so old.
Yeah.
I think Anthony Edwards was the only, again, like we said, the player that could dunk, that could actually pull off great dunks. Everyone loves to see LeBron dunk. He just doesn't do it the same anymore. So I just feel like there wasn't that highlight factor on the West team. No one was really trying. They were taking stupid shots, which I don't really want to see, and that's why they didn't beat the East in the end. Even though on paper I think they had the better team. They definitely had the better team.
I feel like before the game started, everyone was saying the West really assembled the Avengers.
And Cat.
And Cat. We already covered that, but Cat ended up playing really well, actually.
50 points.
50 points.
Yeah.
And
shout out Cat.
If he was on the winning team, he would have got the MVP. But in the end, Dame took it home. And
really, Cat was the only bright spot for me in the West team, because
he was trying.
So first of all, what am I saying?
Because he was trying in the fourth quarter. You could see he wanted the 50.
Yeah, so he was trying. That was the incentive.
But he also was doing. We were talking about lack of dunks, but he was doing like the up and unders. So that was some highlight factor to that. And the crowd was getting up and about a little bit. Like, they wanted to see him get to that mark. 50. So I respect that.
And he wasn't shooting bulk threes either, even though he's a great 3-point shooter. He was sort of just rim running, which I don't mind in the All-Star game. If you're rim running, we're going to see some good dunks. So I'd rather see that. But I think the major problem lies, the thing that'll fix the All-Star game is defense. Like, because We're
going to get into this in a second, but how?
More incentive. But we'll talk
get
about
into that in a
second.
second. But yeah, Dame won the MVP. 39 points.
Yep.
A few threes. Deep threes. Again, you said you don't really want to see that. It is impressive still. But yeah, it's getting to the point where it's worn off as like something that happens once or twice a game, and it's happening. Players are pulling up from that range 20 times a game.
Yeah.
So it's kind of worn off. But yeah, he took home the MVP. So he had a particularly good weekend. The crowd was booing Dame because they want to see Tyrese win the MVP. Because again, he did play a very good game as well.
And we're in Indiana as well, so
correct. So I kind of feel for him on that, but he played a good game. He scored the most on the East, so I understand why he won the award.
Yeah.
And before we hop into the next bit, I have not a quiz. We're gonna rank.
Oh, okay. Rank. Cool. Let's see.
Let's rank the last 5 All-Star MVPs. So, the most recent, Dame in 2024, 39 points, 6 assists, 11 threes.
Can we restart that? Say blind rank. Are we doing a blind rank?
No,
or are you
I was
going to name all of
just
them?
going to do the tiers.
Doing a blind rank? Because that's like sort of trending at the moment.
But you know what they are.
Oh, last five. Oh, true. Last five. Yeah. You're right. Sorry, my bad.
No, but I did write down blind ranking next episode. Like I was going to make something next.
Oh, cool.
So don't worry. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I literally had this thought when you were walking in before.
Do I make it a blind ranking?
Yeah, but it's the last 5. I know.
Yeah.
That's what I've written down.
Go ahead.
But yeah, so Dame, 2024, 39 points, 6 assists, 11 threes. So S, A, B, C, D, F.
Okay. D, E, F.
Look, are we really going to put one in E? It's either going to be D or it's going to be F.
True. Okay. So Damian Lillard wasn't the most exciting performance. He didn't really. I mean, he did catch fire a little bit, and he had one of the best highlights in the game, which was pulling up from half court. So it was cool. I'll put it in the C tier.
That's what I was going to say. See, for an All-Star MVP game, that's pretty stock standard.
And the All-Star game was trash. So
Jason Tatum in 2023, 55 points, 27 of those in the third quarter, 10 rebounds, 6 assists.
So he was scoring and he was passing. So it's a good all-around game from him. I don't remember any specific highlights, but I'm pretty sure he caught fire from 3. And that was the game where he was going face-to-face with Jaylen Brown on possessions. So that was a lot of fun. But the All-Star game itself
Was bad. It was
was
the least
bad.
viewed
Yep.
in the past.
Probably my least favorite other than
20 years.
this year, in the last 20 years. So I'm going to put that C tier as well.
I'm going to put it, I'm basing it off his performance and I'm going to say A tier because it's the most points in an All-Star game.
You know what? Scrap that. I forgot about the points. Let's go.
I'm going A. It's not S because of the fact that the game was bad. But that's
Okay,
not
fair
his
enough.
fault.
A. I'm going to go A as well.
Curry in 2022, he had a 50 bomb with 16 three-pointers. That was the year he kept shooting and turning around.
S tier.
Yep, I agree.
I don't need to explain it because
No.
I thought that was a great All-Star game in general as well. I don't remember how competitive it was. But Curry went off. So many highlights, especially from him. Pulled from half court and turned
Yeah, that
away
one- that
while
one
being
highlight.
contested by Trey. Yeah.
And he
Crazy.
just stares down the rest of the players. He's running back to be on defense.
So many cool edits came out of that game. So S tier.
S tier, I agree. Giannis in 2021, 35 points on 16 of 16 from the field, 7 rebounds.
That was also a cool All-Star game.
It
I
was.
think
He
I
shot
remember.
perfect and he shot, I think, 2 threes. One which was a step back 3, which you don't see him do very much. And he was mic'd up this game, so it was interesting to see. That adds a bit of highlight factor, I guess. Him just yelling and having a good time, acting like a bit of a kid. But yeah, where do you put this one?
16 for 16. I'm already a little bit nostalgic about this game, so I'm going to put it A tier.
Yeah, I'd say B or A.
Yep.
Bias, I'll go A.
All right.
Kawhi in 2020, 30 points, 8 from 14 from 3. I don't really remember this performance per se. I remember the year.
I remember it, but I don't think he was the most exciting player on the court that year. He did shoot a lot of threes, so it's between C and B. But I'm gonna go B tier.
I'm gonna go C as well. I'm gonna go C.
Okay.
Because I feel like in comparison to Dame, who we also put in C, it's a pretty similar game. I feel. Yeah.
I respect your opinion. That's fair enough.
That's it.
Oh, cool. Nice. So we got one basically in every tier almost, except for we didn't have any low tiers, which
No,
I mean, you're not going to get
All-Star game MVPs. It's hard to,
you're not going to get an F tier MVP. So
unless it's undeserved, which none of those really were.
no. Nice.
So yeah, now do we want to go on to some suggestions for how to improve the All-Star game events?
Yep. We didn't really have any suggestions for the celebrity, did we? Other than we knew the fact that next year it's going to be in the Bay and more stars are going to come out.
Correct. Yeah, there's no real way to improve it. It's a game. There's no.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Not on the weekend, it's on the Friday, so I think it's cool. Keep it.
Rising star.
Rising Star. Again, I think we should go back to what you were talking about, Trey versus Luka.
USA versus
that year.
international.
Yeah. And just make it its own little all-star game. Because these players, I feel like it's their first time or one of their first times in an all-star weekend. They're going to be more competitive than the all-stars are going to be. Because it's not their first rodeo. It is their first rodeo, my bad. And I just think there's going to be defense. And even when there wasn't defense, we saw these young players had flashy dunks, youthful legs.
It's hard to get. Yes, you get a view of more players properly when there's 4 teams and mini games, but they don't really get into the swing of things.
Yeah.
There's not the matchups in the game. There's not the, when Luka and Trey matched up. I feel like we keep going back to that. But that's a very nostalgic and, awesome moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't really get in the full swing of things. And USA versus World, I feel like younger players have more pride than some of the older players in the fact of being international or from the US.
Mm-hmm. And
so
that worked. The young kids just want to have fun as well. So
it's not the main event of the weekend or even top 3.
No,
but it's fine being a side event.
You can definitely get some highlights out of it as well.
For sure.
And I think you can get more highlights out of it by turning into that World versus USA. And so many people are used to that format. I'm not quite used to the format that it's currently in. And I can't really remember any specific moments from the current format either. Like, I don't really have any highlights over the past few years as it's been this way. Whilst I do remember specific moments. John Collins windmill in that same year. The Ja Morant dunk contest at the end of the game. I mean, it was cool. It was a lot of fun. So I think they should change that back.
I full-heartedly agree.
Yep.
The skills challenge.
Skills. Let's hear your opinion first.
Get rid of the passing.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's not necessary. I wouldn't. You have to keep the shooting. I feel like that's an important part of being a skilled player.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe could workshop some ideas here. I'm kind of thinking on the go. But what even? I'm thinking of skills that a player can have. What about? This is probably more for hardcore fans because I don't know if the casual fan will enjoy this, but this is just floating out there.
Mm-hmm.
A rebound off. Like box out, player versus player.
Yeah.
I think that could be interesting.
Like physicality.
That's a good skill of the game. I was thinking about passing.
I wonder how people, if people aren't trying at the moment, how hard are they going to try in that competition though? That's the only thing.
That's the only thing. But imagine they're actually trying to box each other out.
Yeah.
And the competitive juices are flying, you're body to body with someone.
That'd be cool.
I feel like I'd enjoy it. So
one improvement that I've just come up with. You know how you've got to, there's just the normal skills challenge. You run around the cone, shoot the layup, shoot the 3. I think the dunk at the other end, they should turn that into like a mini dunk contest where you get rated out of 10 on how good the dunk is. And obviously there are some players that might not be able to dunk. Tyrese threw it under the legs and threw it to himself. I would give that like a 8 for how good of a dunker he is. I think it was good for what he could pull out. But imagine you got Wemby trying to pull out the best dunk he can at the end of that run. You got
that creates that many more
Anthony
highlights.
Edwards. Exactly. It's just maybe listen, NBA, we should send them this footage because I think
we should. Your idea's better than mine, but I was just trying to think of how to incorporate more skills, different skills.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's a good idea. And
yeah. But
there's not fundamentally it's if people aren't going to try.
But how do you think they can make it so that
incentive.
They do try? Yep. And what's that?
Money.
For themselves?
Yes.
For the winning team?
Yes. Because money for charity, it sounds bad, but some players don't really care.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So, I don't know. Money makes the world go round. The NBA has enough. We know this. They have enough to spend on events like this.
Mm-hmm.
And if they wouldn't be losing money, but if they're not gaining as much potential earnings as they can, why not spend a little bit to make more? That's my point.
Exactly. I think it'll be a profitable return if more people are involved in, if more people are excited for the skills challenge. But I kind of like the skills challenge.
But again,
like over the years,
like the Rising Star, it's not meant to be one of the main things. So it's
Yeah.
okay to just keep it.
yeah. But you,
Simpler.
as a fan, you do want to see who's got the best skills out of all of them. So, I mean, I don't know if we really saw. I feel like the number one pick team.
Or do
could
we
have
get rid
completely
of the
destroyed them.
teams? 1v1.
Does that show off skill, or is that just a 1v1 challenge?
No, like you do all the events, but you're not in a team.
The only issue I have with that is the Utah Jazz team. Sorry, not the Utah Jazz. My bad. The Pacers team. I think it's good because the All-Star game is also for the fans at attendance.
That's true.
They only see these players. They're seeing all these stars in their building, in their home arena, once every 20 years, whatever. How often it's in your city. So I mean, I think it's good for the city as well. And you want people to buy tickets at the Rising Star game, and if you're not putting your home team in the Rising Star, sorry, not the Rising Star, the Skills Challenge, I feel like they're going to get less viewership and less people buying tickets.
Okay.
You want to see
That's
how
a fair
well.
point.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that would maybe add a bit more individuality and a bit more, I don't know, flair to the game rather than just the teams. But I'm not too concerned. That's not the main. It's the trying aspect is the main thing that everyone knows. But yeah, I feel like definitely your idea could improve. They could incorporate some rebounding, some different skills. Yeah. So next, the Steph versus Sabrina. What are they going to do next year?
I think obviously we've heard rumors that they're going to do it as a team thing. So we're going to have Steph and whether it's Dame or Clay. I think it'd be good to do the winner of last year's 3-point contest. So Dame and then Dame doesn't.
That's also something to fight for to make the 3-point contest
win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you're considered the best shooter in the league and you get to shoot with Steph. You get to shoot with, or even after Steph retires, they can do the previous two winners and then that player can be replaced. And then the next year after that, they compete for the spot again.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a good event. It should stay around.
It should. And it's like a knockout tournament as well. It's cool.
Yeah, and I disagree with what Kaylee Jet Smith was saying, that if they want to shoot from the NBA line, they can. We saw Sabrina score 26, equaling what Dame did to get into the final of the 3-point contest. So I don't know, I felt
he was stupid for that.
That point's invalid.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the event. I don't need to have money incentive for that event. Like we were talking about the skills contest because it is reputation and people do care. Like we were saying in the 3-point contest, they do it consistently. It's what they're meant to do. So it's cool. I feel like the 3-point contest will always stay relevant and it'll always be competitive. And I think bringing that extra element where it's Steph versus Sabrina, but obviously how it's going to evolve next year, I think keeping that in will only grow the 3-point contest as well because you can interrelate them as well. So
yeah, nice.
Cool.
What about the dunk contest? This is a big one.
I've heard a few ideas. One of them was from a Knicks player, maybe Mitch Robinson. He said, no, it wasn't. Sorry, I forgot who it was. But it was the players with the 4 best verticals in the league are forced to participate. Or the 5 best verticals in the league are forced to participate.
It'd be interesting as long as they embrace it.
Well, you could put like a fine on it if you don't participate. And it can be, obviously that there's probably more to it. You probably can't just force people to do it and fine them if they
also
don't.
that like certain years, I know we're talking about style factor doesn't really matter. But I feel like at some point it ruins, the nostalgia of, Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, Vince Carter. I feel like there has to be some sort of aspect that draws in people who aren't going to just watch for the dunks.
But I feel like that was a rarity, as in like Michael Jordan was the best dunker in the league.
If you make the rule that it's the top 5 highest verts, what's that? Dennis Smith Jr. Who else? I don't know who's the top 5 highest.
Shaden Sharp. Someone else. I see.
You see where I'm coming from, but I do agree that there should be, because then, but I don't know about being forced to. I feel like they could just pull out some mediocre dunks and just leave.
Yeah. But they wouldn't. I don't think they would. The whole hype around it, the adrenaline. If you got to participate, then
You might as well.
might as well. And you know you can dunk as well. You got a 44-inch vertical, so
Yeah, I feel like the main problem with the dunk contest is the unoriginality of dunks, but that's not the dunkers' faults. I'm trying to think of a way around that,
yeah.
but it's difficult.
The way I think they could improve that is professional dunkers. Again, that brings away the star factor of it. Even though I don't think that's very important. I said that it was last episode, but I've taken that
He's
back.
changed his mind.
I've changed my mind. I've reflected.
We learn and grow here.
We do, and that's why you guys should continue.
I disagree. I think there is an element of star factor, but we can agree to disagree. But you're saying professional dunkers.
Professional dunkers, because we're going to see these dudes commit their lives to this stuff.
But
and we're
it's
going
not
to see.
the NBA All-Star Weekend, though. That's outside.
But then I also heard an idea where you could have players representing dunkers.
Yeah, I actually like that idea where LeBron is a coach of a certain player. If you did the 5 highest verts with already all-star coaches, then it draws people in who know who the coaches are. So I think that's a good combination of things.
And they can also mic them up as well. I feel like that would add like a whole nother level of excitement as well. Like LeBron coaching Shaden Sharp on how to. Wait, what? Yeah, true. I thought you just called me out for swearing. I'm like, did I swear? Nah, yeah, agreed. No swearing.
Yeah, but I feel like they could definitely try that out. They might as well try these things out because
you can only go up from here.
Yeah, they're only going down. Yeah.
Jaylen Brown said he wouldn't mind coming back next year if nobody else wants to do it. Would you like to see Jaylen Brown back, or do you not care?
If he promises not to do the D Brown dunk again, he has the arsenal to be the top 2 in the dunk contest, but I don't know. We'll have to see who the options are.
He's not going to pull out anything that we've never seen before. He just doesn't have that in him.
Who does? Mac McClung.
McClung. Bring Shaden Sharp in. I feel like I'm an advocate for Shaden Sharp.
I like Shaden Sharp.
I think he's a great dunker. Dennis Smith Jr. We've seen him in a dunk contest. I think he scored 250 dunks in that dunk contest. Maybe he won. Did he win? I forgot. Don't think he won. But like, just I don't care. Bring some people with some good verticals, and I'm sure at least one of them will bring out something that we've never seen.
So our advice as a whole is maybe bring in the top 5 verticals, but we definitely think there should be coaches as a way to bring all-stars into it and bring that star factor.
Yeah. Or just try something new. Just try something flip
new.
It on its head.
NBA. Try something new because what's happening right now is not working.
No.
And the last event, the All-Star game, how do we improve the defense? Because we know that's the problem. The defense of the All-Star game. And before you start, shout out a certain individual watching this episode sent me a post that said East versus West, the winner gets home court advantage in the finals. What do you think about that?
That would eliminate the point of seeding. I mean, it wouldn't, because you would still get the 1v8 matchup.
No, just in the finals.
Yeah. I really like that, actually. I honestly wouldn't really have any problems with that.
Make it super competitive. The only thing is, less fun for the players, less highlights. They less like more highlights than there are now, but less, crazy dunk highlights that we've seen in the past.
If it's like an NBA game and it's super competitive, and you've got these like superstars playing against each other at almost full strength, then I don't care if there are no highlights.
Also, in my heart of hearts, I don't think the All-Star game should have real implications on the season.
You don't think?
No, it doesn't sit right. So with me. It's a good idea in functionality wise, but as a fan, I feel like it's just tough, especially if you've got, let's say, the West and the East this year played each other seriously. The West would have won. The East will probably, and the East were outmatched. If you come into an all-star game and your team, East or West, is severely undermatched against the other team, What can you do? You're just gonna lose. You're gonna lose that spot if you're a playoff team that's gonna make it to the finals.
Yeah, but even if it is sort of a blowout, I don't think they're going to let it be a blowout. I mean, it won't be as bad as it was.
If it's for that, it's gonna be super competitive.
But even if there is a team winning by 15 or something, then we'll see the highlights. And I also think a big sorry, you go ahead.
And also, if a team is bad and that has an all-star, you
I was
just have to
thinking about
convince them to play well.
But like, what if they flip their season around? What if the Detroit Pistons flip their season around?
Yeah, sure.
Nah, but what I mean, who was the worst? I mean, terrible teams don't get all stars anyway. So I don't know who the worst player, like the worst player from the worst team,
That's true.
was this year.
I'm saying it has happened before.
It has happened before, but if it's just one player, I don't think it's going to make a difference. And they'll want to win for their team as well. I mean,
That was one of the ideas that was presented to me.
I really like that. Personally, I agree. Fully, 100% do it.
100%.
100%. I don't
It just
care.
doesn't sit right with me.
Right.
I can't fully endorse that, but it's definitely an idea. Do you have any more ideas?
Oh.
I know you have to cut this, so
I'm not going to cut that.
bring back the draft.
That's
Do you
a good
think?
point. That's a good point. I feel like that. I mean, I don't mind the East versus West, but as you were saying, the West, where everyone thought the West was going to dominate, the East was going to actually dominated. So I think if they, first of all, they brought money incentive into it, the winning team, each player wins. I mean, it doesn't need to be like $1 million
peanuts to them, but you know,
Yeah.
could
But like,
could incentivize
a bit more incentive. Like you'll apply yourself more on defense if you know you're going to win $500,000 if you win this event. And the other thing was, this was another idea. Could they just like, so say this year, who was a player who really didn't think played well at all? Okay, I'm gonna go Anthony Edwards. He wasn't there to play. He wasn't there to play. He didn't play any defense whatsoever. He scored 4 points. Don't invite him back.
Wow.
Pick the next best player.
Wow.
I think
disagree.
You disagree?
Because like we were talking about last episode, the implications that has on a player's resume. That's the only reason. Yeah, if you're not going to take it seriously, don't come. But also, think of the children, man. I was just saying that if your team, if your favorite player on a team is just not there because they played bad last year, I feel like that's too much. But then
that will be more incentive for them.
It will
play
be,
well.
but
That fixes it.
There's a fine line between incentivizing and just straight up policing.
demolishing the viewership, policing it.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. That was an idea, but I just feel like there are so many ways.
Should there be mini games throughout the game? What do you think?
Yeah. Mini games. What do you mean?
Like we've seen in Creator Cup games, even that could have been like the celeb game, like midway, just 3-point contest, winning team gets 5 points. Move on.
Yeah, like dunks now are worth.
Yeah, for 5 minutes, dunks are worth 3 points.
That's cool. I like that.
I feel like that adds a bit of
That's
bit
a great
spice,
idea.
bit of flair.
That's a great idea, actually. Yeah, because if and like sort of the referees or whoever's in charge of controlling the game, if there are too many threes being shot, then you can say, yeah, dunks are worth 5, and everyone's going to dunk. And then there are too many dunks, and it's not competitive enough. Whatever, there's not enough defense because teams are dunking.
I think it's a good idea, and for like younger fans as well, they love to see mini games.
I think they either got to go all in with making sure it's competitive or all in with the highlight factor. Because if they can't be stuffed making players, like giving money to players after they win, then at least like mic up every player and have that playing throughout the game. Or maybe not the whole game, because obviously you got to filter out some parts. But like mic them up.
Try different things.
Interviews during the game. Like I think I saw one, there was a Luka interview somewhere in there, but like you just got to go all in with the fun aspect if you're not going to go in with the competitive
Yeah,
aspect.
and I thought this year they would do more with the light up court. You know how they had the light up court?
Yeah, they didn't do it for the All-Star game. Though.
No, but I thought they would have.
Yeah.
I know that they take it. See, I was just gonna say they take it seriously, but they don't.
Mm.
But it's a traditional thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have players, if a player's hot like Dame, have like a fire
Cool.
trail.
Oh,
like
cool.
Or
Yeah.
like a 2K. If someone's cold, put the ice on them.
That's a good idea.
No, that'd be embarrassing, but
Yeah, but
be
like
interesting.
even if you had like nickname like icons
Nickname.
around the player, like you had a Joker next to
and
Joker.
nickname jerseys.
Yeah, you got like nickname jerseys are cool. You got like an ice trail coming out of ice tray. Like it'd just be so cool.
Make it fun. Make
Yeah.
it. Yeah, like I said, you either got to go insanely competitive. Next year, they either got to go insanely competitive or insanely fun highlights.
Also
I'd be fine with either.
another
But
idea.
they just got to commit to something.
Another idea with the Creator Cup thing you were talking about. They could have like the LED courts. They could have a 4-point line appear randomly out of nowhere when nobody notices, and then all of a sudden players are trying to pull up from the 4-point line, 5-point line. That'd be cool. And
Or blocks are worth 2 points. Even if promote defense.
this guy's cooking. This guy is cooking. The NBA needs to see this because that'd be great. I think that'd be fantastic. It shows up as 1 block on the scorecard, but you get 2 points. Great idea.
Yeah, I feel like that it incentivizes defense. Also, it's fun and it doesn't cost NBA money if that's what they're worried about.
Turn it into like an arcade,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a full
Just
arcade,
fun.
just like colorful. By the way, we were talking about the jerseys the other week. I think I take it back. I was initially on the train, then I was off the train, but I'm back on. I think the jerseys were
I come around
fire.
to them a little bit. I still think that All-Star jersey should be colorful, but that's just my opinion.
Like the
Or
Phoenix one, the
Like
cactus.
This one like stands
so cool.
out. Like it's like white
Just
with
Nike's
big letters.
Nike's just not creative enough. They're too
No, Nike as a jersey designer in general. Yeah, we have
Nike. We're
We're
talking about Nike like
enemies
he's
this
one
episode,
person.
but
Yeah. I like the jerseys. I like the warm-up kit as well with the zip
the
up.
warm-up kits were cool.
Because they were wearing it differently. Each player was wearing it differently. Luka had like the double button up. You had D-Book with the backwards cap with a singlet on. Like they were wearing it in different
Yeah,
ways.
I
It was
agree
cool.
that I like those. I just think they were just a bit bland for my taste.
Mm.
But they grew on me a bit. I don't hate them. I didn't like them at the start.
Also,
I don't mind them.
I'm going to go also ultra petty here as well with the All-Star game. But I think they should do a better job of it. You know that video of... I don't remember if it was Derrick Rose, but there was LeBron, D Wade, all being introduced,
the intro,
and then there's
D Rose
D
standing
Rose just going. I feel like that was everyone this year, and like they didn't do a proper intro. They had these players step forward on the court as they introduced themselves and just went like that. Previous years, we've had like celebrities. Obviously, maybe they didn't get a celebrity out there to do the intro.
Who did performances this year?
I don't know who the hell they were. They were Indiana locals, so sorry, Indiana. I have no idea who they were. But they had a. I love the national anthem. I'm not sure if you heard it, but he was like a country singer. He did his thing. That was amazing. But the intros, like I forgot what year it was, but they had them come up like on this huge stage.
Smoke machines on the
Smoke
side.
machines.
Why did they get rid of that?
I don't know. What was it something to do with their
It's
budget
fun. They
this
don't
year?
like fun.
No, they don't like fun anymore. But like even like just refinement to detail, I feel like if they just like added detail, more interviews, more interactive shit, they would improve it.
Passwords.
Beep. That would improve it so much. Like the All-Star game would like if they had a great intro and it was more interactive with even the fans just in the crowd, I would have enjoyed it much more. Even if the game itself is terrible. Like
Yeah, if the game's bad, but there's mini games, players are mic'd up, the details are all there, you can see that there's effort put in.
Mm-hmm.
People would be okay with it. Well, not like completely fine with it, more okay with it than they are now. So they just need to take some steps forward, NBA, if you're listening. Basically, as a whole, to wrap up everything we're saying, is try different things and put some effort in, please. Please
And
for the fans.
just to wrap it up again, he cooked with that idea with the arcade. That is fire. I think that would fix it completely. The block thing that you said, not to glaze, but nah. What do you think about this? Has been a hot topic of discussion as well. Just completely cut the All-Star game for at least a couple of years at a 1v1 contest.
No, I don't think they should cut it because I don't know. Even though it's not good, it's still something I'm looking forward to. You know, because you watched it, you were looking forward to watching the game, even though you knew probably it wasn't going to be the best.
But bro, everyone will want to watch a 1v1 tournament.
No, I'm saying separate event, 1v1 tournament.
Do they have time for it?
Yes.
Do the players really want to do that?
Yes.
2 events.
Sure. You don't have to. Maybe you don't have to be an all-star, but if players are playing 1v1, they're going to try.
Mm-hmm.
They just are. It's a fact. Competitive nature takes over at that point. So I feel like if you can get enough star power, I know you don't like this word today. Star power. If you get enough star power to the event,
Yeah.
and different matchups, center versus point guard. This is basically like NBA sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
No, but we're just saying that. Yeah, I feel like it could be a separate event.
How
They
about
might as well try it and see who they can get.
true? How about this is supporting your case of both of them existing at the same time, not at the same time, but both of them existing. What do you think about the 1v1 tournament? The winner, it's like a draft. The winner goes to one team, the loser goes to the other team. The next winner and loser of the next matchup, the winner goes to the other team, the loser goes to the other team, and that sorts
Interesting.
out the all-star draft.
That could be a good idea.
And then
Who's
you get
cooking?
equal matchups, because if it wasn't like a tournament, if you had, say, Embiid versus Jokic, you could separate them into teams.
And that, apart from the 3-point contest, is the only one where you have to worry about people not trying. You don't have to worry about people not trying because they're going to try it as 1v1.
Yeah,
If I was on 1v1 and America is watching, the world is watching, I'm trying.
Embiid doesn't want to get beaten by Jokic. Jokic doesn't want to
No,
get beaten
exactly.
by Embiid.
Put them together.
Bro,
NBA, hire us.
bro, that is actually good, because even if they did it like so the normal all-star selections, fans voting, NBA officials voting, whatever, coaches, they could do it like into East and West, and then the starters of those two play each other, and then the starting power forwards from each conference play each other, the starting small forwards from each conference play each other. And even if they just want to do it for starters, because unless they've got like someone on the bench that is worth watching a matchup on, I'm just saying, like, what if they had the starters from each team? So it's 5 games, 5 1v1s to determine which team they're on.
Could be interesting. It's just about getting player participation. That's all. But if it did happen, everyone would be watching that.
Do you think everyone would want to participate? And why wouldn't they want to participate?
I feel like most players would participate if the NBA said this is what we're doing. They're going to participate. I guess just health. I guess if you're injured, you're injured. But, players not wanting to put their bodies on the line for something like that. That's the only reason I can see, really.
And also, there was an Anthony Davis interview with Malika Andrews, I believe it was. By the way, she cooked this All-Star weekend. She had like 4 huge guests on her show. They were all really good. Anthony Edwards said on her show that the reason why he didn't try whatsoever was because it's like a break for a lot of these players. There are a lot of players that really enjoy it and want to show up, whatever. Might not be in defense, but they want to bring a show for the fans. But then there are others that just want to chill. Like Anthony Edwards, he just wanted to enjoy like a week off, a week away from the team, just to reset and prepare for the later bit of the season. So
yeah, and I understand that. I think it's just about. So if that's the case, then making it more fun would be the go. I feel like.
Yeah, unless there was money involved, then I know Anthony Edwards was
Bag chaser.
Yeah, he's a bag chaser.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about that? About the All-Star game?
Well, personally, I'm gonna go back on the 1v1 tournament. I just personally, I think they should just do one, because I feel like in either one of them, if you've got players like Anthony Edwards who doesn't want to participate, like who doesn't want to put on a full show in the first place, I don't think you could convince him to do both, or like at least show
That's what
up
I'm
for
saying.
both.
Should they just do
One,
like the players who want to turn up, like the dunk contest, but
Hmm.
1v1s? Because even if it's a role player, if you get some star power in there, it'll be interesting.
yeah.
Say Dante DiVincenzo beats Paul George. That's going
But
everywhere.
would you match them against each
No,
other? Would
that's just
anyone
the
want
first-
to watch them?
That was just a role player and a star that came to my head.
Okay.
But imagine people be watching that. Imagine Dante upsets, and then NBA
Yeah.
Twitter goes crazy.
No one would watch it, but NBA Twitter afterwards would go crazy.
Yeah, I think there'd be some hype around it.
So
yeah.
I agree with you. Either they do both, but personally, I would say they got to cut one or the other. They got to introduce the 1v1 contest and like fully commit to that, or they just don't introduce it at all. That's my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cool.
That's wrapping up. You got some games for me today.
Nice. I got a couple.
Interesting.
We
I'm
got
excited.
NBA Sabotage, which we'll do now because
Okay.
we'll build up some anticipation for the other game that I haven't actually seen been done, but I'm sure it has because yeah, I mean, it feels like something that should be around. We'll do NBA Sabotage, and we've sort of learnt from previous weeks. We learnt against Giannis, maybe that was too good of a matchup,
Yeah.
maybe, because Giannis is just too good. We need players with flaws in their game.
Flaws, but all-star like players.
All-star calibers, yeah.
Am I on the offensive this week?
What was it last time? Yeah, you are. I'm trying to sabotage you.
Yeah.
I'll do a full introduction as well for the TikTok. But who do we want to go against? That's the big one. Who's a player with just a flaw in his game?
Zion.
Zion's a good one.
That's just who came to my head. Think of
Damn.
floor.
That's going to be hard. Will it be though? NBA Sabotage. You're trying to beat Zion Williamson and I'm trying to sabotage you.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Damn. All right. Let's get this started.
So do I have
You're-
first pick?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Shoot.
Damn.
And he wins.
All right. You get the first
And-
pick. What are you choosing?
I'm going to go. Am I going to pick defense again? Yes, I am. Because I'm trying to win. But I'm not going to go Rudy Gobert. I'm going to go Giannis. Because of the versatility. He's a lengthy defender. He can guard on the perimeter and in short. I know Zion's not the best shooter. But I feel like in a transition, run out to the line, run back. That would be the best option for me.
Mm-hmm.
So Giannis as my defense.
I'm going to completely cook you here. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to go with height and weight.
Alright.
We're doing current players, so
Yeah.
with height and weight, I'm going Marquez Noel.
What's his height and weight? I don't know off the top of my head.
I think he's 5'10", and he's a bit thicker because you got to make up for it. But
It's gonna suck.
He's
That's
small.
gonna suck against Zion, but also I still have the defense, so it's gonna be funny watching like
a dude like him jump out of the gym to block a shot.
yeah, because he's gonna have to.
Crazy. All right.
So with that, I'm gonna have to go athleticism to complement my defense, so I can do that. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be on the ground, and my defensive ability will have no impact whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So who's a really athletic player? I'm gonna go Anthony Edwards for my athleticism.
Anthony Edwards.
So I'm
Nice.
gonna get up there. I'm gonna be able to block shots,
Mm-hmm. And
but my frame is
potentially
gonna
dunk.
be potentially dunk. Unless what?
You see, it's really hard at this point to go between 3-point shooting and inside the arc scoring, because with 3-point scoring, if I give you a 3-point scoring and you've got Anthony Edwards' jumping ability, then you could pick someone who would just beat him athletically.
Correct.
Against. But then I don't want to give you. In fact, I do want to give you good shooting because I feel like even though you're small, we've got handles left as well. Okay. So even though you're athletic, I'm not going to give you good finishing.
Okay.
RJ Barrett finishing. He's got one of the worst percentages in the league inside the paint.
But he can do it.
He can, but your guy is short as hell. So
I'm athletic.
You are. And RJ can dunk like that.
So who knows? So what do I have left? Handles and outside shooting. I hate to leave handles till last because I think we've left handles to the back of the queue for most
every
of
time.
it. Because it's the least important.
Depends what situation.
It depends.
But
in this situation, I need the scoring.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard to score inside because I've got the defense. So outside scoring, so 3-point shooting, basically. Who do I want? So I want to go with Steph. That's cheating.
Yeah.
Not cheating.
Well, you picked him last time, so.
Yeah, I'll pick someone else.
And like, I reckon you should say it for the TikTok. Say like, I picked Steph Curry last time, so.
I picked
because otherwise, people in the comments will be like, "Why didn't you go Steph?"
Yeah. I picked Steph Curry last time, so for the sake of switching it up, I'm going to pick Malik Beasley, the highest 3-point percentage in the 3-point contest, and he's going to hit the thug shake. He's going to hit the thug shake on Zion after he hits a 3 on him.
You know, I like that because as we saw in the 3-point contest, he's got a high release point and he jumps. So, and that's something you really need.
So less blockable shot as well.
That athleticism, that's very important. I like your pick.
So handles, last pick.
Handles, last pick. I'm also going to pick a player that we haven't picked before. We've picked Andre Drummond, we've picked Tristan Thompson. So this time, I was going to go Kevon, but Kevon can actually dribble a little bit. I'm going to go Yusuf Nurkic, handles.
I can live with that.
Yeah. Not good because he's a center, but
yeah. Well, let us know who won down in the comments below. It's an interesting matchup.
It is. Do you wanna plead
also,
your
this
case?
guy took 10 minutes to film this segment. He's gonna cut it out, but
I'm also going to cut this part out as well.
Don't cut this out. There should be a penalty for this guy.
I couldn't name Marcus Noel. That was my issue. I had him in my head, and I was so stubborn on him that I couldn't. And I looked it up.
Interesting matchup.
Plead your case because we haven't done that yet, and I think for the long form, I think that'd be good.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes, I'm lacking handles. I've got center handles, pretty much, and my inside scoring is below average, but it's not the worst it could be. And what was the other downside I had?
So height.
Oh, my build.
Handles and finishing.
So I'm 5'10". I'm really short for an NBA player. But I'm not the skinniest. I'm not the weakest. I thought you might go Trey because he's a smaller guard. But I see why you went Marquez, I think. Marquez.
That's what it said on the internet.
But I feel like my upsides outweigh. It's just more about the matchup. The upsides of being Anthony Edwards athletic with Giannis defense and Malik Beasley shooting outweighs the downsides of what you've chosen. But I just don't know how it would go in a matchup against Zion specifically.
What would your game plan be if this was your player?
Well, I'm really athletic. So if I'm getting the ball, I'm sprinting to the 3-point line. And because my finishing isn't great, I'm pretty much going to operate from the 3 line, but I can get open because, like you said, I've got a high release point, big jumping jumper, and I'm athletic. So even though my handles aren't great, I'm still going to move with some pace. So I feel like I can get open. And then on defense, I do have the blocking ability and I've got the jumping ability to block shots. I'm going to get bullied at some point. It's going to happen with the build. But I feel like I definitely stand a chance here. It's hard to picture, which is good, which means nearly even.
I think we should also consider doing that. This is also someone watching has probably suggested this. I hope you're watching. You better be watching. We should run this in 2K as well, just
We should.
to see who would win. But that might take
Yes.
away from the like conversational.
We could post on the Instagram story if we get enough people interested in
that.
that. Let us know if you're interested in that.
Let us
Yeah,
know.
we'll do
I didn't get to plead my case, but we won't do that. Actually, yeah, we'll do that quickly. No, we
Just
won't.
quickly.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. My guys, your guy's way too small for Zion on offense. Even though he can block shots, I just don't think there's going to be any chance that he's going to stop Zion with his physicality. Just push him out the way.
The defense
He's out of the
is there,
way.
though. The athleticism and defense.
The only thing is, imagine Zion like literally like bodies him from under the rim. It's an easy dunk, easy layup. He's not going to be able to recover enough after getting hit by Zion to jump up at Marquez's height. I hope I said that right. At his height, I just don't think there's any chance. On defense, Zion is going to be hard defending the three, sort of, especially with the speed of Anthony Edwards and the shooting of Malik Beasley, as well as you said, he can get up high enough for to like hopefully not get blocked all of the time. But then there is the fact that your guy, I don't think, will be able to score at all in the paint, because even though he does have the athleticism, he does have the speed, I don't think Zion is really much slower than Anthony Edwards. I think it's just the verticality, and even vertically, I don't think Zion is going to have an issue,
It's close.
because Zion can jump out of the gym and Anthony Edwards can as well. I'm just relying on the fact that you won't be able to finish 100% of the time. It's not going to be easy for you to finish around the rim at all. And I'm just hoping Zion can get out for threes and hopefully just stay around the 3-point arc and defend the 3-point shot. So
It's an interesting matchup. It was a tough matchup.
Mhm.
Let us know who won this one.
let us know.
But outro.
Outro. Yeah, that wraps up the episode. I'm sure you probably might have noticed by now that we're on one camera over there. It's because all the cameras are conked out because we've been recording for too long, which we'll learn from next time.
We will.
You can't record for 1 hour and 50 minutes on the
Too much time
setup that we've
wasting.
got. Maybe once we level up, we'll be able to do 2-hour episodes, 3-hour episodes for you
I hope you guys
but-
enjoyed it anyway, so you're getting a
Yeah.
little bit more extra content than you usually would.
Yeah, so it didn't go exactly as planned. We were going to talk about, as we said at the start of the video, we were going to talk about rise and falls for the remainder of the year, our predictions on teams that we were going to do well for the rest of the season. But maybe we get into that next week. But
Next week.
yeah, that was a full episode on basically the All-Star game plus games. So I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back next week, hopefully with some discussion points for the next week of NBA basketball. Hopefully some cool stuff happens and we can talk about it. But yeah, please
Yeah,
like.
if you're watching on YouTube,
If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, thanks for listening. I hope there wasn't too much that didn't make sense to you. But yeah, leave a 5-star rating and follow us if you're listening there. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
peace.
Adios.